We had a great season down in Mexico on our desert ranches this year. It's the 2024-2025 season recap, and we want to show you guys a lot of the great video and experiences we had on our desert ranches in Mexico. We'll get to our mountain ranches on another video, but we had some amazing things happen this year. We want to take you through it sort of step by step, going back to November. Connor and I went down and set up our trail cameras, and lo and behold, it's another just bone dry year, wasn't it, Connor?
100%. The year was super dry. We were very curious as to how it would affect the horn growth. The rut is the biggest thing, as well as just the overall health of the deer, and everything was down. Kind of as we expected, but it was still a great year for sitting water.
All of that said, we still found quite a few good bucks.
And we got them in the ground. We got a lot of opportunities at some great bucks. Our main ranch, we did not kill a buck under 5.5 years old this year.
That's awesome.
That might be a first time ever. But we killed some really mature bucks, some really old regressed bucks, some really big bucks. So it was just a great year overall.
Yeah, one of the interesting things too is when you start talking about the age of these deer, guys, we're not experts on how to age a Coues deer. We've got, I think, quite a bit of experience, but when we put out these trail cameras, we can kind of tell when a deer is 2.5 or 3.5 years old. And so when that deer comes back the next year and the next year and the next year, that's sort of how we come up with our aging process, is based on getting pictures of them at 2.5 or 3.5 years old. We feel like we're pretty good at that, but these bucks, some of which, Cameron's buck, for example, what do we think that was? Sloppy, 7.5, 8.5
Plus.
years old.
Oh, he was 7 or over. He was old.
Yeah, but he's not as big as you might think for a 7 or 8 year old buck, and you put the drought on top of it.
Yeah.
He's a great buck, and Cameron was thrilled to shoot him, but we have 5.5 year old deer that smoke him in terms of score, that kind of thing. So
yeah. This is a buck that we call Crackhead because he really took to feed and water a few years ago, and he's just been nonstop ever since. Kate actually was able to see this buck. He had a really prominent split in his ear, and so 100% Cade saw this buck. He just didn't have horns last year, and so when he came back this year, he was still just as consistent as ever, and so we put one of our archery guys on him and smoked him at day 2, I believe.
Yeah.
So, just a sick buck. He's got big old beams, well over 14 inches wide, and some trash at his bases. It's just a classic M Factor buck.
Fantastic deer. He killed it with a bow, and he was ecstatic with it. That's the biggest buck we killed with a bow this season. Another cool buck that we wanted to show you. This is an unnamed buck. We don't have a lot of history on him, but check him out. He's super heavy, and he's got some, maybe a broken drop tine here, but he's got some gnarled up stuff. I don't know how some of this stuff actually happens. I don't know if they get bit by flies or mosquitoes, or if they bump it on cactus or something, get some needles poking in there. But super heavy buck. This was another buck. It wasn't killed with a bow, but it was killed with a crossbow. Guy came all the way from Ohio to shoot this buck, and he's ecstatic with it. We're super happy for him as well. But regardless, fantastic buck, especially for archery equipment. So here's the buck that I killed. We just put out a feature Mad Hunts video with this buck. You should probably go check it out. Super cool buck. This is a buck that we started off the hunting season when we initially found him. We thought it was a buck named El Fuego. Turns out that El Fuego had some splits in his ears. Last year, the pictures we've got of El Fuego showed some splits in his ears. After I killed this buck and I was caping him out, I noticed this buck's ears were totally clean, had no little cuts or nicks or splits in them, and we knew it couldn't be El Fuego at that point, which is kind of odd after the fact. But we got home, and actually Connor kind of went on a mission to figure out where this buck came from, who it might have been, and we found pictures of a buck we called Wildside. Wildside disappeared on us 2 years ago. Guys, we're pretty sure, I mean, I would say probably 90+% sure, 95% sure that this is Wildside. We don't have the last 2 years of pictures from him, but when you make some of the comparisons in the trail camera pictures that we get off our Browning trail cameras, what do you think? I mean, you're the one that came up with that conclusion. But
so the theory behind it, it's a stretch. I guess literally and figuratively. I don't even want to throw out how far this buck perhaps could have moved, because I feel like some of you in the comments could get on us. But I 100% think that is Wildside. But I also wanted to ask you, Coues Deer hunters, how far do Coues Deer move? How far have you seen bucks move in the past, or during the rut, from year to year, everything like that? Because this is definitely the farthest that we've seen a buck move, if it's the same buck, and I think it is.
we also had Cade's buck. We've got a full feature video of Cade's buck that you can look up as well. Cade killed his biggest deer ever. What'd we put him at, right at? Are we saying?
Guess in the comments how big Cade's deer is. It's a typical 4x4, great mass, just everything you want in an M Factor Coues Deer. So guess, we'll put some pictures up right now. See, you see them? Guess in the comments, and the closest comment or the correct comment will get pinned, so that you all know. But it's a very nice deer. I don't think there's really anybody in the world that would pass that buck.
Not a sane person.
It's
a beautiful deer.
It's like the epitome of a typical massive Mexico Coues Deer.
Just beautiful deer. The mass, the coloration, the story behind it. Guys, seriously, go look at Cade's video. He put a lot of work into it, but there's a real story behind it. Cade was bummed for the last couple of years because he worked his tail off hunting some of these deer, hunting some fantastic bucks that he wasn't able to catch up with. And he finally did this year, and he did it in a big way. He shot it clean and recovered it, and it's just a fantastic, beautiful buck. We'll tell you what it scores later, but put your guesses down below.
But you guys might be wondering, hey, you know, there's a video for Dude, there's a video for Cade on their Mexico Coues Deer bucks, and Cameron, my sister.
Yeah, where's your video?
Where's my video? Well, guys, I didn't shoot a buck this year. I passed some great bucks on mountain ranches and desert ranches. I passed some old bucks, some young bucks, but nothing that really turned my crank. And so I ate tag soup this year, not once, but like 3 times. So it is what it is, but next year I'm gonna kill something good. Sometimes bucks, they just outsmart you. You know, I mean, the trail camera ban is a little bit still touchy in our hearts over here in Arizona. It's not a gimme. And so, you know, there's a buck that I chased for 8 days, and obviously I didn't kill him. There's a buck that his name is... Who's the buck that broke?
Bandito.
Oh, Bandito buck. Buck, great buck. He's one of the top in the hit list. He's top 5 at least, perhaps top 3.
Yeah.
And he completely busted a side off, just gone. Right after his eye guard, just gone. The cowboy found it, so we measured it, and we have a little bit of an idea on where that buck scores. But we have lots of bucks that they're too young, they broke early, or they just flat out beat us at our own game, and they're making it to next year. So it's going to be a great year next year. All we have to do is hope and pray for some rain. Oh,
rain.
Man. Yeah.
Cross your fingers. So
every year we go into the year setting trail cameras. We set Yellow Ridge, and we're all excited and juiced about bucks that could show up. So we have a lot of bucks that from 2 years ago that didn't show up this past year. And it's kind of a big list, and I think the drought could have something to do with that. So one thing that we're, kind of overlooking is the success of ranches that weren't like our little home bubble ranch. We have other ranches throughout Sonora that they did awesome.
Really
a lot
good.
of, some more archery bucks, some more rifle bucks, some more over water, everything like that. So we had a good year.
We did, and one of the key things to remember is that these desert ranches, we're getting more and more interest from archery hunters. These waterhole setups are perfect for archery hunting.
Yeah.
I've killed a lot of bucks with a rifle off of these desert ranches, but we've got a couple others. The same ranch that we killed this big archery buck, we killed another couple of bucks, real good bucks. I think one was high 90s, one was just over 100 inches. So we had a lot of success with our archery hunters, and we know that in seasons to come, we're gonna be getting more and more interest just because the pictures and the trophy pictures of these bucks that we're killing. So we are totally geared up for the archery hunters to come and get in close and tight on these water holes to the point where we can put guys on really, really solid archery Coues deer.
Perhaps one of the cooler kills of the entire season is a set of locked bucks. There was a hunter, one of our hunters was driving to his spot, and he sees a buck that he thinks is just scraping a bush. Mm-hmm. And so he gets out, he pops the buck, and then realizes that, that buck is locked to another buck.
That was dead.
And so the bucks, they tried. They couldn't even pull them apart. Like, they were locked together, and he got them back across the border. And so, now his taxidermist is going to be able to make that piece of art come back to life, that those bucks are going to be locked forever. So
yeah, that was really cool.
Super cool.
Really cool.
I don't think I've ever heard of a true locked up set of Coues deer. I've seen Easterns, I've seen mule deer, but I've not seen Coues deer as much, if ever.
It happens. I think maybe the best part about this story is that we were able to procure another tag for him.
Yes.
And legally get both sets of horns across the border.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing is we got 2 of these green tags, and we put a tag on each buck, skinned them out, caped them out, did everything we needed to do, and then filled out the paperwork for them. But we went to the landowner and actually procured another tag from the landowner to make sure that our hunter could go home with this once-in-a-lifetime trophy scenario. And we wanted to ensure that he could take them home locked. And to my knowledge, they have not been able to unlock them. They're not trying at this point, but they're
stuck.
They're stuck together.
Yeah.
Good and tight, and they're gonna mount them and put them up on the wall locked. So that's gonna be really cool to see what the taxidermist comes up with when it's all said and done.
That's just the M factor. Every time you go out hunting in Mexico or even drive into a ranch, just the M factor takes over. Big bucks, great food, just an overall world-class hunting experience. So if you do want to come down to Mexico, hunt Coues deer, mule deer, or Gould's turkeys, let us know. Our website is in the description below. Send us a message, give us a call, give us an email, do whatever you can to get in contact with us, and we'll make sure that we can set you up on a great hunting experience. Mexico is it's so fun. You need to experience hunting Mexico at least once in your lifetime. It's just, the entire experience is once in a lifetime, and we get to do it every year. So I'm grateful for that.
And so can you.
Agreed. You can too. But it's been a great year, perhaps one of the best. But we're going to try and beat it next year. But this has been our 24-25 Mexico hunting season recap for the desert ranches. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave us a comment down below.